Welcome back, everybody. This is your host, and this is your Candlestick Analysis Report for July 17th, 2025. We had a very busy day yesterday. We saw robust earnings across the board, especially in the tech sector. First, let me start with the broad markets. Since last Thursday, we've seen continuous bullish candles, except for this one right here on Friday. It was a neutral candle. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all bullish. So the broad markets are showing strong upward momentum. First, looking at momentum, we can see the strong bullish momentum in the broad indices. And any nearest term retracements have been shallow. It's often finding support at the 20 or 50-day moving average on short-term charts. The histogram is green. The MACD line is crossing through the signal line, and the MACD is trending above its own center line. If we take the high from earlier this morning and the low from the past 2 days, we get the following support and resistance levels. Tech led the charge with strong earnings reports from Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., TSMC, NVIDIA, and Apple. PepsiCo also saw a 7.5% jump after beating expectations. Semiconductors and AI-related companies were top gainers. Industrials and consumer names also contributed to the positive sentiment with strong earnings from Cintas, GAY, Aerospace, Travelers, and United Airlines, as broad-based strength keeps the uptrend intact. Looking at the RSI, we can see that both the RSI for the S&P every day is a new opportunity to build wealth and secure financial freedom. It's never too late to start investing. Don't wait. Start today and let compounding interest work its magic. Invest wisely, stay diversified, and always remember that patience and discipline are key to long-term success. Wishing you all the best in your investment journey. This suggests that investors are willing to take on more risk, which indicates overall confidence in the market. Please smash that like button if you found it helpful. Consider subscribing for more daily updates. USUALUSDT initially gapped down and showed a breakdown, but quickly formed a doji the rest of the day, revealing indecision among traders. Dojis are typically associated with trend reversions, so this could be a sign that we might see some downward pressure in the short term. Cardano and Solana also saw significant intraday moves but closed with little changed, and the RSI for the Nasdaq are holding readings above 60, which is consistent with a bullish trend. Key indicators, including option activity, put-call ratios, and breadth indicators, remain consistent with a healthy risk environment. Despite some fluctuations, the bulls appear to retain control. Well, the forward outlook is bright. As long as earnings and macroeconomic prints remain supportive, the markets are positioned for further upside. Robust corporate earnings continue to drive market strength. While some volatility is expected as Fed policy uncertainty lingers in Q2 earnings, surprises come in both positive and negative. The prevailing growth narrative supports continued gains. However, prudent watchfulness is warranted as indices reach extended levels. However, the RSI for USUALUSDT is below 30, signaling oversold conditions, suggesting that this recent drop could be nearing an overextended low, which means we could see a technical rebound. On longer time frames, the picture remains constructive, with major moving averages offering solid support. Volume spiked higher after earnings releases for names like TSMC, NVIDIA, and Apple. That gave the broader market the boost it needed to push 2 new highs. But what about volatility? Is volatility expanding or compressing? Well, volatility is slightly compressing relative to earlier in the week, but it's still supportive of upward breakout potential. The S&P 500 has had 3 straight bullish closes, and the Nasdaq has now closed at a new record high for 10 times this year. We saw some better-than-expected retail sales and employment data that showed a tighter labor market and wage gains. So basically, just really strong consumer spending underpinned this risk-and tone throughout the entire day. There wasn't much negative news today. Yeah, there was a little bit of geopolitical tension here, some drama there, but nothing too meaningful that would get the markets riled up. So overall, it was a pretty decent day. Lots of earnings, lots of economic news, and we got some more records. The S&P 500 closed at 6,297.36. That's a new record high. Each minor retreat has attracted fresh buying interest, as shown by these long lower wicks and large bullish candle bodies. In individual stocks, we can see bullish engulfing patterns in doji stars. Doji stars are a bullish version of an engulfing pattern, So we can see some demand starting to build in high-volume names like Microsoft, Amazon, and Nvidia. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended at 44,484.49, a slight gain of 0.5%. And the Nasdaq Composite finished at 20,884.27, another record close. So as you know, those are the reverse of the bullish engulfing and doji stars. So this is just showing us that even though the broader market is moving higher, there are some reversal risks in specific risk assets, like in this case, USUALUSDT. The Russell 2000 also put in a good day, gaining 1.2% to 2,253.68. All right, so what drove the market today? All right, let's go ahead and get into the candlestick structure. On sub-daily timeframes, we did see a brief period of consolidation after the open, but buyers stepped in quickly. Now taking a step back on some tickers, we can also see bearish engulfing and shooting star patterns. All right, let's see what the charts can tell us about the technical interpretation. Looking over to the moving averages, all the major indices are trading well above their 20, 50, and 100-day moving averages. Let's go ahead and look at the MACD. For the most part, the MACD is bullish for the broad majors. Now let's shift our attention to small caps. The Russell 2000 outperformed with growth and mid-cap names, seeing increased buying interest. And finally, a quick snapshot of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin rebounded above $120,000. So let's move over to the sentiment panel. Overall, the sentiment remains bullish, characterized by strong buy-the-dip activity and little evidence of panic selling. So what are some of the reasons for this positive sentiment? And as always, remember that past performance is not indicative of future returns. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.